Okay, so my project was on the Roman Empire, not to be confused with the Roman Republic because the Empire is cooler and better known. And also, all you got to know about the Republic was it was pre-Empire and basically it was just a bunch of rich dudes voting on stuff, while the Empire had emperors. The Empire basically started with this dude named Julius Caesar, and he was like pretty powerful and he kept doing all this, awesome stuff and like saving them and leading them into the battles. But as normal civilized people, they were like, no, 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 bad boy, we want to be a republic, none of this empire garbage. So they did what any reasonable group of people would do, and they stabbed him to death. But that just caused a civil war. After the civil wars were done, this dude named Octavius came and he asked to be the emperor. The people decided, since he asked more politely and he was related to that Julius Caesar guy, mostly because they didn't want any more wars and violence, but because of that, they promoted him to emperor, so the empire had just begun. Now you may be asking yourself, who is this Octavius dude? I've never heard about him before.
Are you sure about that?
Well, you actually probably have heard of him before because when he was promoted to emperor, he wanted to change his name to Augustus because he sounded way cooler. No, but it was mostly just because since he ended the wars, a new name and a new beginning for for Rome. He was a really good empire and ended up basically starting this time period called the Pax Romana, which was, a pretty chill time. Now this period of peace was, it was pretty chill, especially if you were a guy, because you didn't have to be shipped off to war. You could crack open a cold one with the boys, and you could just, hang out. If you were a woman, you pretty much had to stay with your husband or parents since you kind of belonged to someone and you're not allowed to be independent. But it was still peaceful overall for everybody. Knock knock, who is it? A brand new emperor and his crazy soccer mom, aka Nero. So basically, this mom just leached off of her son's success and she rose him to power by convincing people to promote Nero to emperor so that she could be more powerful in return. Now, this Nero guy was a great emperor. Like, his first big achievement was burning down his own empire. Toasty, am I right, guys? Now, the people were like,
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!
and Nero was like, oh no, I didn't do that. The Christians did. Yeah, these people who have differing views than me, it was these guys, definitely. And everyone's like, yeah, it seems legit. Now, people were kind of getting sick and tired of this Nero dude taking all their money and spending it on himself. So they were like, we gotta get rid of this dude. So they sent an assassin after him, but he had snuck away, realizing that, assassins were trying to get him, and he slit his own throat. And for his mother, they found her and she's like, I dare you, do it! Stab me right here! Right here! So that's what they did, they stabbed her. So the next emperor was this dude named Vespasian, and he built something, I don't know, you may have heard of. It's not that well known, but it's this, it's kind of like a Colosseum where these people and animals, they fight, especially prisoners, because who likes prisoners, am I right, guys? Am I right? Now, the Colosseum was kind of like the highlight, like the most popular place in Rome at the time, where everybody would go to watch these shows. And there was everything. There was there's even evidence that there were sea battles in the Colosseum. So that's pretty cool, and people obviously like to see people brutally kill other people and animals, so it was pretty nice for them. Now, this guy named Trajan, he is a new empire, but there's something special about him. He isn't Roman, which has never been done in Rome before, and he really wanted to get into that sick Roman clique. So basically, he pandered to them, but in a good way. You know, he built like aqueducts, roads, and sick bathhouses that people could chill in. Trajan wanted to build more, but you know, he's kind of running out of money because he keeps buying stuff. So he's like, you know, we can just, you know, go conquest and stuff. After years of bullying smaller nations and beating them up, they finally made more and more money so that they had like a crap ton of money to their disposal. So they made this new Roman form. Now, the old Roman form was basically the center of town where everybody met, gathered, traded, bought stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff. But this new Roman form was even bigger and better. It was like made out of marble. It was super nice. It had a statue. It was like a super cool place. But while building it, they had a few issues. Now, because there's, you know, a million people crammed into one small empire, they don't have a lot of room, so they have to dig through this giant rock. And keep in mind, they did not have dynamite, so they had to send all these men to go and dig it by hand. But hey, the new form was a success, and it looked really cool, and they described it as kind of like a paradise to be in. You know, it even had this sick column that had their whole history on it, but whoops, an earthquake broke it. Oh well. So Trajan dies of old man sickness and some dude named Hadrian takes his place. Everything is great, but the unknown is scary, and the Roman people do not like to be scared. So Hadrian basically sets up this plan to make a huge wall spanning all the way across England, or current day England, to protect them. He made it, and it was called Hadrian's Wall, and it basically symbolized how much power they have and how superior they are to everybody else, making everybody on the outside just hate them and want to destroy them more. But then Hadrian also coddled man sickness, also known as being over 50 back in the good old days. So there were a few more pretty good emperors, but then the fall of the Roman Empire began with this dude named Caracalla. Now, Caracalla, our first impression of him is he murdered his brother so he could be the only one in power, because, you know, he didn't like his brother. Then he tried to, you know, remove his face from literally everything. So far, he seems pretty great, but anyway, he was alright for the first bit of his leadership, other than the fact he spent all his money on a bathhouse. Of course, bathhouses were really important in Rome. They were basically a place where everybody could unwind and go to at the end of the day, and this was the biggest one so far that he made. But he was also starting to run out of money, so he also started conquesting, which just wasted even more of their money, and he didn't really make it back, so they ended up assassinating him. Now, in the same year, the Colosseum burned to the ground, and people, you know, they were pretty sad about that. They were all like, no, we want to watch people brutally kill each other and kill animals and stuff. Now the empire is kind of grumpy and kind of poor. Also, about 90% of the emperors were either really crappy and got assassinated or would kill themselves. So honestly, they didn't really have any strong leaders at this time. And that's when everything started going to crap. People didn't really want kids, so there weren't that many new babies and the population started to rapidly decline, as well as money being completely useless. Also, warriors would turn on Rome in battles because of their low population. Now, Germanic tribes weren't too sad about this. In fact, they were pretty happy about this. They kind of just smirked and were like, it's finally our chance. And they rushed into Rome and stole their money and their dignity. Oh yeah, also remember those aqueducts things? The thing that literally gives a population of hundreds to thousands of people, you know, water and crops so food can grow. Yeah, they destroyed those. So, you know, now the people don't have clean water, so they're all dying of famine or dehydration. So, you know, this was a pretty neat time. Now, of course, There is more of Rome's history, but that's where the empire kind of crumbles and disappears off the face of the earth. Of course, there is the Renaissance and other time periods in Rome history, but this was the empire, and it's all I have time to cover. So I hope you like it and ask questions. Thanks.